Cody here with Gung Ho Dog Training, and this is Rue, and we're doing a video series. It's going to be a long video series called Raising Rue, but the videos are going to come out in 3 parts. And this video is all about desensitization and socializing your pup. She's super excited to get the food that's in that dish right behind me, and we want to talk about that today in this video, socialization and desensitization. But the 2 other videos that we've already posted, one is about learning and shaping behaviors. So that's kind of the foundation of teaching your pups behavior and the verbal cues that are tied to it. And then that second video is about building trust and a solid bond with your dog, and they're super important. So if you haven't watched those videos, make sure you go check them out. Watch all 3 videos together. There's a link in the description down below to all 3 of the videos, so if you want to check that out, you can watch all 3 of them. Socialization and desensitization. She is obviously super happy right now. The process of socializing is introducing your pup to new places, new people, new things, new dogs. It's really a combination of all those things. And then desensitization is more related to the things aspect of different things in life that are going to be different noises, different smells, different sound. I said noises, different smells, different sights, different types of interactions. That's all part of desensitization, and we can do that to specific things. In my beginner obedience course at gunghodogtraining.com, I go through the process of socialization and desensitization in detail, and I really walk you through how to do that, and I give you some very specific examples, whether it's introducing your dog to water or the vacuum cleaner, and I show you basically step by step how to go about desensitization in a way that is healthy for the dog. Today we're just going to talk about some loud noises. We know that a lot of dogs have trouble with whether it's gunfire or fireworks or something like that, and working with a lot of hunting dogs, I work with that a lot. I will go through the process called gun breaking, where I'm teaching the dog that gunfire is related to a dead bird, basically, and that their job is to go and get it. And then this eventually gets them to be more confident around those loud noises. So when 4th of July comes around, or New Year's, and there's fireworks, they're not freaking out or having anxiety because those loud noises have been desensitized. So I'm going to let her go and get some of this food right here. Break. And one thing to do early on in this process is I can just clap my hands. I'm not clapping super loud, but I might be clapping from a distance, and I do this while the dog is eating. Eventually, they're going to be eating right here, and I'm going to be clapping real loud right next to them. She just ran out of her food, so I'm going to stop clapping, but that's an early stage right there. While they're eating, they're so preoccupied with the food that's in front of them. Let's go get her a little bit more food so I can show you some more. Alright, we got a little bit more food. So as she starts eating, might be on the other side of the room clapping. I'm looking to see, does she pick her head up? Does she look around? There she goes. She looked up just a little bit, but she went right back to eating, so I'm going to clap again. She keeps eating, so you might get a little bit closer. She's not eating. She comes back. She might need some water. She's chewing pretty fast, so so I would say right there she's desensitized to clapping while she's eating. The next step would be doing it while she is not eating, and we might go outside, we might walk around, and I might start clapping again. Right there, she got a little bit scared. She comes back, I'm gonna pet her. And then I might give her a piece of food right after I clap too. So I might go like this. clap, and then I'll give her a piece of food. Good. Good girl. Good girl. So I'm just starting to put a lot of positivity connected to that loud noise. Another step in the process. So like I said before, introducing her to the vacuum cleaner. Now I haven't introduced her to the vacuum cleaner, so as she is eating, I'm just gonna be rolling this back and forth. I don't have it plugged in, I don't have it turned on, but this would be just a very early stage of letting her see it, smell it, kind of hear this sound of it rolling back and forth, and just getting used to that. The next would be having it on the other side of the room and turning it on and off as she's eating, and gradually getting it closer and closer. And that is that process of desensitization, taking whatever the stimulus is at a distance and introducing it, making sure the dog's okay. If you can introduce it at a lower level, and then gradually get it closer and closer, and making sure that the dog is okay throughout that whole process. You really want to take your time, go slow, and each dog's going to have different things that just kind of set them off, give them anxiety. It might be getting into the car, or it might be driving in the car. It might be another dog. It might be certain sounds. It might be a baby. Even older dogs you can take through this process, but if we do it with young pups, it's really going to build a solid foundation for them when they're young, so that as they grow, they're going to have more and more confidence when they interact with something new, because they've gone through this process of so many new things. And going back to trust, which I talked about in the previous video, and definitely check that out. Check out the other video too of learning and shaping if you haven't. It's a 3-part video series, so make sure you watch all 3 of them together. But going back to trust, as you have that trust with your dog and you introduce them to something new and you're with them, they are being desensitized, they're being socialized, and they're building trust with you all at the same time. So if you want to see like an extended, I really go into a ton of detail. It's all in my video course at gunghodogtraining.com. Check that out, you guys. It's everything you need for beginner obedience training. It's super helpful. I've had a bunch of people go through it and gotten really good feedback. So check that out. There's a link down in the description down below. So if you haven't watched, so another piece about socialization, especially with any dog, I would say any dog. If you are dealing with a dog that has anxiety or has trauma, you definitely want to take this really seriously, but this also applies to every dog, even a dog that's super confident. You only want to introduce your dog to other humans and other dogs that you know 100% are safe. So you've either interacted with that human or that dog before, and you've also watched that dog or human interact with another dog similar to yours, like if it's a young puppy or something. Okay, so that would be step 1. You know, you want to make sure that the dog is safe. The other dog or human that this puppy is being introduced to is safe. Then you want to be able to control the interaction. So that either means holding onto them like this, or having them on a leash and keeping them at a distance from each other for a while, so that they can see each other, they can kind of watch each other's behavior. You don't need to introduce dogs super fast. If a dog is off leash, they're most likely gonna run right up to each other, and they're gonna decide in a couple seconds whether or not they like each other or not. And if they don't like each other, at that point you could possibly have a fight on your hands. And it just happens like that. It's so quick. There's a lot of body language you can see in dogs. that will give you a heads up of whether or not they are going to be aggressive or not. But it's always safe to just have both dogs on the leash, or to be holding on to one of the dogs and have the other one on the leash, holding on to both dogs, and just let them see each other, experience each other from a distance. Maybe you have a friend and they just got a rescue dog, or you know, they have an older dog and you have a younger dog. Maybe go for a walk with your friend, but don't ever let the dogs get close to each other. So go on a walk, but stay kind of far apart from each other. And as you're walking, those dogs are just going to have an experience around each other, but they're not going to have the opportunity to smell each other or to be close to each other. But just being around each other and having this positive experience will socialize them and give you a better result once they do get to the point where they could be off leash together and potentially play together. So maybe the first time they interact, they're both on leash, you keep them separate. Maybe the next time you let them go up to each other and smell each other just on the nose to nose, maybe once, and then you go and you have your walk. And then the third time you go on a walk, you let them smell nose to nose, let them smell each other's butts. That's usually the process that they go through, is go to the nose and then go to the butt, and then all that area down there, and they like to smell each other. I don't know why, but it's part of their identification with each other and learning about each other. So maybe the third time you let them, you know, smell each other a bunch, and then you go on your walk and you keep them separate. And then the fourth time, you know, you would allow them to maybe interact a little bit. And then the fifth time you allow them to play. You might drop the leashes, keep the leashes on them so they can drag them around if you did have to get a hold of them. And the sixth time, maybe you unclip the leashes and let them just go play in the field or something. So it's not necessarily that speed every time, but I'm trying to explain the process, and the point to you is that you just gradually desensitize them to whatever that other stimulus is, and we make it minimal at first, you know, so it's farther away, it's quieter, and then gradually we let it get closer. But the whole time we're monitoring the dogs. We're monitor your dog and see what they're thinking. You know, if they're getting super scared, then stop the increase of proximity and let the dog stay in that point. This is another thing that's really important, is if I have the vacuum cleaner, you know, and it is 10 feet away, and my pup's totally fine with it. I'm just holding on to her right here, and my wife turns on the vacuum cleaner, it's 10 feet away, and she's fine. Then my wife moves it 2 feet closer to us, and now it's 8 feet away from us, and she starts freaking out. Instead of having the vacuum cleaner then move away, or have me move away, we're gonna sit there in that space and let her get calm at that space. As soon as she calms down, then we're gonna move away. What we're teaching her is, in order for this thing that she doesn't like to go away, she has to be calm. A lot of dogs will get hyped up and they start freaking out, and they start pulling, they start barking, and they might get aggressive. And then what happens is we remove them from that situation. And what we just did is we taught the dog to do that behavior in order to get rid of whatever that thing is. So whether it's barking, or if it's shaking or running away, we want to be able to teach the dog to settle in that space and then to move away. Now this is an example with a vacuum cleaner right here and a young puppy. Obviously if it's a bigger dog that is having a lot of anxiety towards other people, like lunging at other dogs on a leash or something like that, it's going to be a different process. I'm not going to go into that detail here, but you would want to actually keep the dog moving, giving their muscles a way to release some of that anxiety, but you're moving in a way that is not necessarily moving away from whatever it is, but you're keeping them moving in that spot. I like to use healing and get him to focus on me to deal with some anxiety stuff. I'm not an expert in that, in dealing with anxiety and everything, but this process of desensitizing puppies, I have done a lot of. And so if this video has helped you out, give us a thumbs up down below. Make sure you watch the 2 other videos in this 3-part series. They've already been posted, so you can check those out. The links to them are down in the description, or you will see them on the screen here. And we'll see you guys in the next video. I'm super excited to share with you the process of raising Rue. Tell your pup I say hi, and we'll see you in the next one.